Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center is a Dubai government entity established in 2006. Currently we have two main projects in orbit, DubaiSat-1 and DubaiSat-2. The DubaiSat-1 project is a 2.5 meter resolution Earth observation satellite, and the DubaiSat-2 is imaging at 1 meter resolution. We are currently working on our third project, which will be launched in 2018, which is called KhalifaSat, and this will be a 50 centimeter imaging resolution satellite. With the DubaiSat-1, we were providing the data at a very small cost to different government entities, and we saw that there was a big need for this data. They were using it for town planning, for environmental purposes, for disaster monitoring, etc. Then we decided in DubaiSat-2 that we want to increase the usage of this data locally, so we started to provide this data free of charge to all government departments in the United Arab Emirates. So currently we see a 10-fold increase in the usage of the data, partly because it's free, and the other reason because it's a much higher resolution. And this is being used to monitor all construction projects in the UAE, monitor change detection, monitor environmental aspects, and also monitor agriculture. We are working very closely with our strategic partner Sattric Initiative in developing our first satellite and our second satellite. What we've done is we started with technology transfer, then joint development, and then self-development in KhalifaSat. We are also working with different international partners such as the Pan-Geo Alliance, where we are joining with other small satellite operators to provide satellite imagery to different entities. In the pipeline now we have two main missions and one smaller mission. The first one coming in 2018 is KhalifaSat mission, which will be launched on a Japanese rocket, and it will be basically as I said, 50 centimeter imaging resolution satellite. This will be the first satellite entirely built and developed in the UAE. The second mission after that is a very large mission. It's a joint mission between Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center and the UAE Space Agency. It's a mission to Mars. The UAE will be sending a probe called the ML probe in 2020, and we hope it will reach by 2021. And this mission basically is to study the overall atmosphere of the planet Mars. And this is quite a groundbreaking mission because our team will be participating in the details. We'll be really developing and working on this mission, and it will be a mission for the Arab and Islamic world. And then we have a much smaller mission which is should be launched next year, which is a small CubeSat. And we plan on developing many more CubeSats for university students and launching them for them. The goal is that local universities and students based in the UAE are the ones that will be developing these CubeSats. Well, currently, locally, we see a very high demand, but as I said, this is not commercial. If we look at commercial, we have different initiatives such as Pan-Geo Alliance, as I mentioned, and Pan-Geo is basically we are trying to sell the data internationally and have a combination of about 10 different satellites that are providing this data to different customers. What we want from the Pan-Geo Alliance is that the customer doesn't know where this data is coming from, as long as it's up to date and providing him the resolution and quality that he requires. Currently it's not open for public use. What we have is the government departments, when they will have a service and they get a usable service or value-added application from this data, that is what will be translated and transferred to public use, but not the actual data itself. I think it's a tough market if you're looking at it from a commercial standpoint. And I think there are some major players in this market, and those major players are supported by strong government contracts, and they obviously are a leader in this market, and they're paving the way for the rest. When I look at very small operators or developers such as us, obviously we don't look at it as a government entity, as a commercial endeavor. We look at it as providing a service to government departments, and we want to make sure that our government departments can buy this data from other entities. However, we want to try and create a usage that they are currently not using, because we're providing this data We're providing massive amounts of data, and we're providing it free of charge, and we're running analysis on it for them. So we want to find areas that they were not previously using this data for, so that they can benefit from it. This summit definitely is, I can see that there are much smaller players now coming into the game. So if you look at Earthcast, if you look at Pangeo, if you look at, maybe there's others I will not mention, but there's so many smaller companies coming out of places like Silicon Valley, and innovative companies that have very smart ideas, different ways of doing things, and I think these are disruptive ideas. And I think they're starting to take a chunk of the market, and I think they will start to give the big players a run for their money. That's what I believe will happen in the next 10 years.